So we'll go ahead and have a seat on the mat. Just gonna get checked in this morning. So find your comfortable, steady seat. That's what we're told in the Yoga Sutras. Asana, most of us think of it as meaning pose, which it does, but asana also means seat. And we're told to have a steady, comfortable asana. So find that, let your shoulders relax, let your head balance on top of your spine. Take a super deep inhale through the nose and a big exhale through the mouth. Close your eyes if you're comfortable with that. And just kind of settle into your skin, noticing how everything feels. And as you're checking in with all the body parts, start a nice, deep, slow Ujjayi breath. Notice any thought patterns, or you can think of that as the speed and quality of your thoughts this morning. Notice any emotions you might be feeling. Notice what your energy is like right now. And then if you would like to alter or change or even enhance any of that, let that be part of your intention this morning. So we'll bring our palms together in front of our hearts, just taking a moment to be very clear about our own needs, setting our own personal intentions. And then when you're clear on your intention, take a deep breath in, big exhale through the mouth. Good. While we are still seated, we're going to do 3 Uddiyana Bandhas. That's that stomach lift. It's actually technically an energetic lock. The reason for us doing it today is that when you get Uddiyana Bandha properly, there is a slight lengthening in the lumbar spine, which is really cool. That's what our emphasis is today, is we're going to be doing some spine lengthening. So we'll be doing Uddiyana a couple of other times in the practice, but this is just to kind of get your body back into the groove of doing it. Just a reminder, we empty our lungs completely. You must keep the air out. If you need to, you can do Jalandhara Bandha, which is to tuck your chin into your chest. That prevents you from breathing back in. And then from whatever position you're in your seated position, you're going to push against your thighs to kind of lift the chest. What happens is that creates a vacuum, and all of this kind of sucks in and up. Hence the name. Uddiyana means flying up. So it's a flying up breath or flying up lock. All right. And we're just going to do 3 of these. You don't hold it, by the way. Once you get everything up and into the rib cage, you release and you breathe back in. So we're going to do it 3 times. Here we go. Just a reminder, your lungs have to be completely empty. As you finish that last one out, just notice if you maybe felt a tiny bit warmer, that's normal. If your stomach started gurgling, also normal. And just how that felt for you, because it's just kind of a reminder of what we'll be doing a couple more times throughout practice. So from here, I'm going to have you start straight in a downward facing dog. Go ahead and plant your hands, step your feet back. Pardon me. Feel free to pedal the feet a little bit if you need to. You can just kind of ease your way into this down dog, but then once you're there for a moment, let's really work it, because our down dogs today, more than any other time, are really about lengthening the spine. So you're going to want your palms flat, shoulder blades away from each other, hips reaching up and back, really reaching, and then heels moving towards the mat. Take a couple more breaths here. And just as an aside, if your hamstrings are extra tight, you can bend your knees and push the hips higher back if you need to do that. And then from here, let's go ahead and walk the feet forward. Keep your knees bent. Totally relax your neck. We're just hanging here in ragdoll. And I'd love for you to really tune into the sensation of your spine lengthening. So you want to bend your knees however much you need to. Make sure your neck is relaxed. And then maintaining those nice, deep, slow ujjayi breaths. Feel how every exhale, the weight of your head lengthens your spine just a little. On your next inhale, rise all the way up, reaching your arms up and overhead. And then exhaling, bringing palms together in front of the heart. Inhale, reach up. And as you exhale, fold forward, standing forward bend. Inhale, look up halfway. And exhale back down. We're going to step back with the right foot this morning. So I want you to start with a left foot forward lunge. Just hold this for a couple of breaths. You're kind of letting the thighs separate and open. And then see if you can sort of lengthen your spine here. So rather than the hanging and draping over your left leg, you want to lengthen and energize over it. So chest is pulling forward. Your gaze is forward. Go ahead and drop your right knee down. I want you to put your left hand on the inside of the left knee. Roll to the outside edge of your left foot. Find a little bit of outer hip opening. Our hips and glutes are quite connected to low back lengthening. So we just want to make sure we don't have any hip tension this morning. Take one more breath. And then go ahead and extend your left leg, getting into the hamstring a little bit, flexing the ankle and toes of the left foot. And then again, lengthening your spine. So once you get that left leg straight, you want to pull your chest forward and gaze forward. Bend your left knee and bring the arms up and overhead. Pelvis tilts back as the rib cage lifts, again, spinal length. And then just let the hips move forward until you begin to feel this on the front of your right hip, right thigh. From here, we'll go ahead and bring the hands down. I'm going to have you step back to plank position and drop down knees, chest, and chin. And then just flatten your body out. Bring your big toes to touch. Let your heels separate. And bring your forearms out in front of you for Sphinx. So you guys know that when done correctly, Sphinx is a tractioning posture. But your glutes have to be relaxed to traction. So make sure that you're kind of pigeon-toed basically. And then you want to actually pull with your forearms, like you're trying to pull yourself forward. And you might actually feel that lengthening in the low back. So lumbar spine has the capacity to lengthen slightly, which is very useful to us upright humans. Take one more breath here. And then we're going to press into our second downward facing dog of the morning. And on this one, again, palms are flat, shoulders are broad, hips are reaching up and back. Really, really reach that tailbone up and back, and then let the heels sink towards the floor. Let your right foot step forward now, coming into that nice lunge. Once you get thighs separating and releasing, see if you can lengthen your spine. So chest pulls forward, gaze is forward. And then we're going to drop the left knee down, put your right hand on the inside of the right knee, roll to the outside edge of your right foot and apply a little bit of pressure to that right thigh, just enough to get some sensation in your right outer hip. And then we'll just bring that right hand back down, extend your right leg, flexing ankle and toes to get into the hamstring. And then once you get that, again, try and lengthen your spine. From here, we will bend the right knee. Let the arms come up and overhead, pelvis tilts back as the rib cage lifts, and then the entire hip girdle moves forward until we feel this on the front of the left hip. Bring your hands down and step forward to a standing forward bend. Inhale, arms all the way up and overhead. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. So we're actually going to go ahead and just do a little bit of a self-traction now. You can turn sideways if you want, or you can stay facing forward, but you're going to take your feet moderately wide and let your toes slightly rotate out. We want our knees to follow our toes, right? So the first thing we're going to do is just create some length in the spine. You're going to bend your knees, put your hands on your thighs with your elbows completely straight, fully extended. So you can have your hands wherever you need that to happen. And then rather than leaning forward with this, we're going to try and get somewhat vertical. Do your best. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, I want you to push into your thighs, lift the chest, and see if maybe you can walk the hands higher up, keeping elbows fully extended. Do that one more time. Deep breath in. As you exhale, push against your thighs, lift the chest. Maybe you can get the hands a little higher, maybe not. Now, from here, let's do one Uddiyana Bandha. Take a deep breath in, completely empty your lungs, and then lift the rib cage. As you release an inhale, straighten your legs for a moment, roll your shoulders back. If you need to rotate your wrists, go ahead, because we got one more tractioning move here. Keep your stance. It should still be moderately wide with toes rotated out. Again, bending the knees, hands on the thighs. This time it's okay to lean forward a little bit. And we're just going to do a slight traction here. So you're going to push against the inside of your left thigh, bend your right elbow, and twist and look over that right shoulder. Now, if you have a pretty open left hip and left side of the spine, you can take your hand higher up the inside of the thigh. It's completely optional. Take one more breath here. And then we're just going to switch sides. So you're going to push against the inside of your right thigh with your right hand, bend your left elbow, twist and look over that left shoulder. And again, if your right side is pliable enough, you're welcome to take that right hand higher up the inside of the thigh. Come on up from that. Straighten your legs, roll your shoulders back. And then bring your feet together and your palms together at the front of the mat. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold all the way forward. Look up halfway and lengthen, and then exhale back down. You're going to step back with your right foot again. So, left foot forward lunge. Hold your lunge for a moment. And then from here, we're going to spin the right foot flat and rise up into warrior two. So you have a left foot forward, warrior two. Just take a moment, find your alignment. So really similar to what we just did, we're tractioning again. Left hand on the inside of the left thigh. Right hand is going to slide down towards the right ankle. So this is just getting a little deeper. And then press your left arm totally straight. and relax your neck. Take a couple of breaths here. Come back up into your warrior two. Straighten your left leg. Now we're going to be doing a really active spine lengthening triangle. So here's what I'd like you to do. Kick your right hip to the right. Reach out, out, out with your left arm. You're going to really feel the lengthening on the left side of your spine. Here's the deal. You're going to keep your left arm where it is. Take your right hand to the ceiling. Continue to lengthen. Imagine that the thing of your dreams is right beyond the reach of your left fingertips. So what you're trying to do is really continue to reach through that left hand. Take one more breath here. This keeps us from curving or rounding the spine. Now let your left hand just float down. Good. And then go ahead and come back up, bending your left knee, warrior two. We're going to take the right hand to the right thigh, left arm up and over, stretch that left side. And then come back up. Take your hands to the mat and take the vinyasa of your choice. Whether you're doing Sphinx, Cobra, or upward facing dog, make sure the heart is pulling forward. So instead of just pressing up, pull forward. Slight bend in the elbows. Really lengthen your spine. And then when you get to downward facing dog, of course, we're continuing to really try and lengthen the lumbar spine here. So we keep reaching the tailbone up and back. From here, we're going to step the right foot forward. Hold your lunge for a couple of breaths. And then from here, we'll spin the left heel flat and come up, warrior two. Just taking a moment, finding your warrior, and then we'll do just like we did on the other side. Your right hand is going to come to the inside of your right thigh. Your left hand slides down towards that left ankle, and then you press your right arm completely straight. Deeper tractioning of the right side of the spine. See if you can relax your neck here. You're going to come back up into your warrior two. Straighten your right leg. And then we're going to do the same thing. It's a very active stretch. Right arm is going to reach, reach, reach to the right. You're going to feel the right side of your spine really lengthen. Keep it like that. Take your left hand to the ceiling. Keep reaching through those right fingertips. And then for just one breath, go ahead and let that right hand float down. And then come back up, warrior two. Left hand on your left thigh, right arm up and over to reverse your warrior. Continuing to stretch out that right side. Come back up into your warrior two. Take your hands to the mat. Take your vinyasa. So really, really lengthening in your downward facing dog. You can either walk or jump your feet forward, standing forward bend. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. So for our balance today, it's going to be kind of a standing figure four. As you know, glutes are very important to releasing low back. So this is the one where you're really, truly, trust me, you're going to want your arms overhead because that acts as kind of a counterbalance to the hips moving back. We're going to stand on the left foot first this morning. I'd like you to go ahead and cross your right ankle over your left knee. Flex the right ankle and press that right knee out to the side. The arms are up and overhead. And we start to bend the left knee, poking the buns out behind us, reaching the arms forward until we feel this in our right glute. Come on up from that. And then standing on the right foot, we bring left ankle over right knee. Flex the left ankle, let the knee poke out to the side. Your arms are up and overhead. That's a counterbalance to your hips. You begin to bend your right knee, poking your hips back behind you as you hinge at your hips, keeping your chest lifted, reaching forward, continuing to move into the pose until you feel the stretch in your left glute. Come all the way back up and release. Roll your shoulders back. Good. So we're going to do kind of a goddess stretch with Uddiyana Bandha. I want you to really feel that lengthening in the spine. So hopefully you're doing okay with your stomach lift. Just a reminder, you inhale, you exhale all of the air out. You don't breathe back in. You lift your rib cage and then you release. It's that quick. So we're going to have a moderately wide step again, toes point out, just to give you an idea. And we're going to do this 3 times. You'll be here for your inhale. And then as you exhale, arms will come up and overhead and the knees will bend, and then you'll do your stomach lift and then you'll release and come down. So we'll do that 3 times. All right. So here you go. Inhale, exhale, all of your air out. And then lift. Release as you inhale, come back up. 2 more times at your own speed. As you finish that last Uddiyana Bandha, keep your feet wide. If you're not already sideways, go ahead and turn sideways. Take the feet a little bit wider. And I want you to really focus on hinging at your hips. You can either grab your elbows or just let the arms dangle. But I want you to just allow your spine to lengthen in this wide angled stretch here. Prasarita Padottanasana. And then keeping your feet wide, toes pointing directly forward, walk your arms forward in front of you, but pull your tailbone back. So in other words, don't let your hips go forward of your heels. You're reaching through your fingertips, but your tailbone's pulling back. It should feel like a wide leg down dog. Relax your neck and just continue to lengthen. So you're reaching with your fingers, hips are pulling back, spine is lengthening. And then we'll just walk the hands back onto the mat, toe heel the feet in. Take a huge inhale, reach your arms up and overhead. And as you exhale, return to the front of the mat with the feet together, palms together. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Look up halfway and lengthen. Exhale, back down. You can either walk or jump back. Flow through your vinyasa. Remember to lengthen in your upward facing dog or cobra or sphinx, and also in downward facing dog. Now from here, go ahead and drop down to your knees. And I want you to notice how your spine is feeling, doing some traditional cat-cow postures, inhaling to arch and exhaling to round. As you finish the breath that you're on, we're going to take just a couple of breaths in Anahatasana, heart opening pose, keeping thighs vertical. Extend the arms out and start letting either the head or chest find the floor. And then when you get to the point where you're feeling like your armpits are stretching, don't change anything else, but try and lengthen the tailbone back away from your rib cage. Come back up onto the hands. Walk your hands all the way back. Sink your buns to your heels, forehead down for child's pose. So you want your knees together if you can. They're bent, your bum is on your heels, and if possible, your hands are back by your feet, palms up. And I want you to breathe into your low back here. And then from this child's pose, we're just going to scoot forward into Sphinx, big toes touching, heels dropping open, pulling strongly with our forearms to create some space in the low back. And then downward facing dog. In your down dog, pardon me, this time, I'd love for you to imagine that someone is actually pressing on your hips, moving them up towards the ceiling, but also back towards your heels. And then from here, you can walk your feet forward and have a seat, extending your legs. Pardon me. So just taking a moment in Dandasana to kind of check in. If you can keep a straight spine, you can either have your hands on your thighs or on the floor. If you can keep a really straight spine, either one, we'll do one Uddiyana Bandha here. So if your hands are on the floor to help you keep a straight spine, you can push to lift the rib cage. If your hands are on your thighs, you can get even more lift. So take a deep breath in. Completely exhale. Don't breathe back in, lift your chest. And then release and relax. I'd like you to ever so slightly bend your knees, just a tiny micro bend. Kind of scoot your seat back so you feel the bottom points of your pelvis on the mat. And then I want you to try and keep your spine lengthened and put your belly on top of your thighs. Bend your knees however much you need to. Once you get your belly on top of your thighs, reach down and grab your feet. Keep your chest lifted so you're looking forward. And just take your time, scooching, scooching, scooching your feet forward as far as you can, keeping your belly on your thighs and your chest lifted. That might mean that you're maintaining a bend in your knees. That's okay. We're trying to keep the spine extended and lengthening while we're hitting the hips and the hamstrings. Take 2 more breaths here. Be honest. Practice Satya. Keep your torso touching the top of the thighs. Keep your chest and head lifted. And then come on up from that and get your legs a little wiggle. So our first seated twist is going to be a super gentle one. Easy cross-legged position if you can. You can have one leg extended if you need to. We're going to make sure that our spine is super straight, and we're going to try and twist from each segment. If you have any part of your spine that's sensitive, tweaky, uncomfortable, you skip that segment. You can twist below and above. It is possible to choose where you twist your spine from. So we're going to be twisting to the left first today. So if you would, put your left hand behind you and put your right hand on your left knee. Now I want you to keep your chin over your chest until the very end, because we're going to work from the bottom up. So a couple of inches below your navel, you're going to inhale and lengthen your spine. And as you exhale, just from that spot, do a small twist. Inhale, lift up through the crown of the head. Now you're going to exhale and twist just from the navel. Inhale, lengthen up, a couple of inches above that. Exhale and twist. And you're going to continue twisting segment by segment, breath by breath, keeping your chin over your chest till you feel like your spine, your thorax is as far around as possible. Then finally, your last exhale, your head turns so that your chin is rotating to the left and you're looking over your left shoulder. On your next inhale, come back to the center, relax your arms and roll your shoulders back. Remember, it may feel different twisting to one side than the other. So now we're going to be twisting to the right. Your right hand is behind you. That helps you push into the floor to get that really straight spine. Left hand is on the right knee. Again, we inhale to lift and lengthen the spine. We exhale, we're going to start a little below the navel and begin to twist. Chin stays over chest until you're all the way around. Inhaling to lift, exhaling, segment by segment, vertebra by vertebra, we begin to twist. Every time we exhale, we move up a segment and rotate. Inhale, we lengthen. Exhale, we rotate. When you feel like you're as far around as possible, your last exhale allows head to turn to the right. And then as you finish out, you come back around on an inhale. Extend your legs. Give them a good wiggle. Keep your right leg extended. Bring your left foot to the inside of your right thigh and just lean out over your right leg. Now from here, we're going to come up and pick the left foot up and bring it on top of the right thigh. Flex the ankle. I want you to lean out over your right leg again. So you've already done a few spinal tractions today, right? Pardon me. We're going to do this one in a seated position. So your left hand is going to go to the center of your left thigh. Don't press right on the knee. Center of the left thigh. Now what your body's going to want to do is lean to the left. I want you to actually lean to the right and start trying to press that left arm straight. It's kind of like what we did in Warrior 2. You should feel a big stretch on the left side of your spine. Take a couple breaths. And then come on up from that. Let this left foot just slide all the way over so it's completely flat on the floor. We're keeping right leg straight today. Left hand behind you. And again, we're twisting to the left. And so this time you can either hug your left knee or bring your right arm outside of that left knee and do a full, deep spinal twist to the left, making sure that your spine is as straight and vertical as possible. And then as you rotate back around, extend your left leg out, give both legs a good wiggle. We're going to keep the left leg straight, bring the right foot to the inside of the left thigh, lean out over your left leg. And then come on up from that. Pick your right ankle up, make sure you keep it flexed. You're gonna lean out over your left leg again. And then again, we give ourselves the opportunity to do that tractioning move. So the right hand comes to the center of the right thigh and you begin to press. Remember, don't let your torso lean to the right. You're actually trying to get it to lean more to the left. Maybe even getting that right arm straight again like we did in Warrior Two. Come on up from that. Let that right foot slide all the way across the left thigh till the whole right foot is flat. And then we come into our twist. Right hand behind us. We're either hugging the right knee or bringing left elbow outside of it as we twist to the right. Rotate back around, extend your right leg out. Give both legs a good wiggle. And then keeping your feet as far away from you as possible, bring the soles of the feet together. So what you want to do when you look down, you should have a very long, narrow diamond shape. Your feet are way out in front of you, but the balls of the feet are touching. Reach out, clasp your ankles, lift your chest and your face. They both should continue to point forward today. And just pull yourself forward. So rather than rounding down, you're keeping your spine extended, which means semi-arched, and you're pulling your heart forward. Take a couple of breaths here. And come on up from that. Extend your legs one more time. Give them a good wiggle. And then we'll go ahead and roll onto our backs. Hug the knees in and rock side to side. Now at this point, make sure that your block is within reach or whatever you're using for a block. So what I'd like you to do is grab your block. We're going to traction from the neck down first. This is a really nice thing to do for your body. And by the way, regardless of what issues you have going on, this is 100% safe and good for all of us. So your block goes at the flattest level underneath the head. You want to extend your legs straight out onto the floor. Feel your face and try and get it parallel to the floor. So you don't want your chin tucked into your chest here, and you also don't want it pointing up at the ceiling. You just want your face parallel to the floor. Your legs are going to remain straight, but they're going to roll in towards each other. Think about what you do in Sphinx pose. It's the same principle. Big toes are touching, but your heels are separated, right? Same thing. So it's internal rotation of the thighs. The arms are going to reach straight up for the ceiling. And then I want you to push through the back of your head and simply lift your shoulder blades up off the mat. It's actually quite simple. Everybody should be able to do it. So if I were there, I would be able to come in and just slide my hand underneath your upper back. Your head is pressing into the block. Your hips and legs are on the floor. Thighs are rolling in. You're just breathing. One more breath here. Go ahead and lower down, relax your arms, relax your legs for a moment. We'll do that one more time. So again, to get yourself set for it, your face is parallel to the floor. Your thighs are internally rotated. Think of it as making your knees look at each other. Your hands are reaching for the ceiling, and you're pushing through the back of the head to lift your chest and rib cage. So your rib cage is off the floor. Your thorax is off the floor. Everything else is touching something. Just breathe. One more breath. And lower back down. Remove the block. You can hug your knees in and rock side to side. Now you're going to stick your block at the middle level between the thighs. You're going to keep your knees bent. Thighs are vertical, lower leg can just stay relaxed. We're going to interlace the fingers behind the neck. You guys all know from me saying it multiple times that when we tighten or contract transversus abdominis, low back must release. So we're causing a reflex release in the low back by doing a little bit of ab work. Thighs are vertical, hands are behind the neck, elbows point at the ceiling. Take a deep breath in. Hold your breath, flatten your back. Exhale, crunch towards your thighs, but squeeze your block as you do. Really push your navel down towards the floor. Inhale back. Hold the breath, flatten the back. Exhale, crunch. Make sure you're squeezing your block while you're crunching. Pardon me. Inhale down. Just one more. Hold the breath, flatten the back. Exhale, crunch towards your thighs. Squeeze on your block. And release. Remove your block. Hug your knees in, side to side rock. And just take a moment and check in. How's your low back feeling? You should be feeling pretty yummy about now. And we're going to keep working on that. Pardon me. So from here, feet on the floor, big toes touch, heels separate. Now, because I want you to really focus on the spine lengthening properties of your bridge, we're going to do it two ways. The first one is with you self-tractioning your spine with your hands on your hips. So if you make your hands like little mittens, right? All your fingers are together, but your thumbs are sticking out. When you lift your hips into bridge, you'll be able to hook your hands on the top of your pelvis, which is your iliac crest. All four fingers will be forward and your thumbs will be back. So you're like resting that space between your index finger and thumb on the top of your pelvis. All right, so here we go. On an inhale, lift your hips up for bridge. Doesn't matter if it's a little or a lot. Lift your rib cage towards your chin. Now, on your next exhale, I want you to push your pelvis towards your knees. You're actually pressing your hip bones away from your rib cage, creating space. Take one more breath here. And then lower back down. Do some wrist circles if you need to. All right, now we're going to do a supported bridge. And we're going to do Uddiyana Bandha. This will be your last time to do Uddiyana Bandha. So it depends on your body. If you have a sensitive back, you'll just put your block at the lowest level underneath your pelvis. Please make sure it's not your back. It's underneath your hips. If you're a little more flexible, you can go mid-level with your block. If you're feeling extra bendy today, you're more than welcome to take the high level. But we're really working on using Uddiyana Bandha to lengthen the spine, so mid-level is probably good for most of us. Now, once you feel like your pelvis is fully supported and your spine is neutral, big toes touch, heels separate. Very important. From this position, we're going to do 3 Uddiyana Bandhas. Now, here's the deal. In a supported bridge, even though your hips are resting, you have the capacity to lift the rib cage, right? So at the end of your complete exhale, you'll lift the rib cage. You should feel like your navel is scraping against the back of your spine. You're going to feel really narrow through your abdominal cavity, and you're going to feel very full in your thoracic cavity, all right? And we're going to do this 3 times. So here you go, 3 Uddiyana Bandhas. As you finish out your last one, just stay in your supported bridge. Relax for a couple of breaths. Your spine should feel pretty yummy. And then just because you've earned it, if you're on the mid-level of your block, flip it back down to the lowest level. Make sure your pelvis is still supported and just let your legs float up. Now you might need to move the block a little closer to the tailbone to create that fulcrum so that your legs are effortlessly in the air. You should not feel like you're having to use any effort to have your legs up. We'll be here for about 4 or 5 more breaths. This is really good for your circulatory system. And then as you're ready, you're going to start to bend your knees. Bring your feet back down to the mat. Lift your hips and take the block out from between your knees. Now we're going to put the block at the skinniest level between the knees. Put your feet back on the mat. So we're doing our most gentle and aligned spinal twist. I want you to barely lift your hips up like you would for bridge. Push them over to the left and put them back down. So now you should feel kind of cockeyed and squiff. Lift the feet up and drop your knees to the right, letting your left arm open out to the left and letting your head turn to the left. So if you were to able to look at yourself from above, your spine would be perfectly parallel to the long sides of your mat, and it would also be of equal length on both sides. That's what you should feel right now. Two more breaths on this side. So on your next inhale, come on back up, put your feet on the mat. All right, so we're gonna lift our bum up. We're gonna swing it way over to the right this time and put it down. Lift the feet up, drop the knees to the left. Right arm opens out to the right. And again, you should feel equal length on both sides of the spine. No curving, no compression, just a nice straight spine that's gently rotated. On your next inhale, you can bring your legs back up. Remove your block, put your feet on the mat so that you can get your bum back in the center. You're centered again, right? And we're gonna let the knees drop open with the soles of the feet together. Take a deep breath in, flattening the low back, holding that while you breathe normally. On your next exhale, allow the curve to come back into your spine. One more time, inhale, flatten your back, just press it into the mat. And on your next exhale, release. Begin to extend your legs, separate the feet. Wiggle them a little bit if you need to. Just do whatever feels good. Get yourself totally positioned for an extremely relaxed Shavasana, making sure particularly that there is length in your spine. So once you get your legs in the right position and your arms are below your heart with your palms up, I want you to feel where your pelvis is. See if you can lift your rib cage a tiny bit and move it away from the pelvis, and then slightly lift your head and move it away from the shoulders. Maximum length in your spine. Soften your jaw, close your eyes, take a deep breath in through the nose. A big exhale through the mouth. Completely relax. Just let your body sink down towards the floor. And let your breath just find its soft, relaxed Shavasana rhythm. Your body and your breath really know what to do here. And then once you get really settled in and supremely relaxed, we're just going to walk our breath up and down the spine. I'd like you to imagine that as you inhale, you're inhaling through the top of your head, and that your inhale is traveling from the top of the head all the way down to your tailbone, to the base of your spine. It brings in space, it brings in light, it brings in healing. When you exhale from your tailbone all the way back up the spine, but out your nose. And as you exhale, you are removing any tightness, tension, restrictions, impediments, anything negative. You're just breathing it out. So imagine that you're inhaling a beautiful, clear light through the crown of the head, creating space and healing all the way to the tailbone. And when you exhale, you're clearing out. I sometimes envision it as a gray or a different color as I exhale and remove anything that needs to be removed from the central channel. Every inhale that comes in through the crown of the head creates space between the vertebrae. Every exhale that goes from the tailbone back up and out the nose removes anything you need to get rid of. Three more breaths like this, inhaling through the crown of the head all the way to the tailbone, exhaling from the tailbone back up the spine and out the nose. And then you can just let your breathing return to normal. Take a moment and check in with your entire body. So as you know, your spine is what houses your central nervous system, which branches off into your peripheral nervous system. In other words, that central channel you were just working with is how you send and receive signals throughout your entire body. So you should notice how your whole body feels right now. Hopefully it feels very sensitive and very alive and very open. You can begin to bring a little bit of movement back to your body now. Maybe wiggling fingers and toes or fluttering the eyelids or moving the head. You can start to deepen your breath so that on your next deep inhale, you're spreading your fingers and toes. Exhale through the mouth as you relax your fingers and toes. And then on your next deep inhale, just stretch. Lengthen your entire body. And as you exhale, relax again. Either just bending your knees so that your feet rest flat or hugging your knees into your chest. You're gonna roll to your right side and please rest there for a couple of breaths, lying on your right side. And pressing yourself up into sitting. So as you find that steady, comfortable seat, remember we said asana means seat. As you find your steady, comfortable seat, we're going to work with Chandra Bedana today, which is a lunar breath. So you guys always hear me talking about balancing out everything, basically, including our energy. So Friday night around midnight, technically more like Saturday, but anyway, we have a new moon, which is a solar eclipse this time. So it's a real strong absence of lunar energy. So to help balance that, we do lunar breathing. Our lunar side, our feminine side, our yin side is the left side of the body, which is controlled by the left nostril. So today's pranayama, I'm going to keep it super simple. You don't even have to count or do it as a ratio. You'll simply be inhaling and exhaling very slowly and deeply through your left nostril. I suggest, if it feels okay, that with your left hand, you touch the tip of the ring finger to the tip of the thumb and let that hand rest palm up. You use your right hand to do a thumbs up position and just use that right thumb to block your right nostril. That's all we're going to be doing. Breathing extra slow, deep breaths in and out, left side only. So take a deep breath in through both nostrils. Exhale through both nostrils. Block your right nostril and begin extra slow, deep Chandra Bedana. Go ahead and just finish out the breath that you're on, and as you do, let your right hand rest down, palm up on your right knee or thigh. Just keep your eyes closed, let your breathing be normal. Take the opportunity to just kind of check in. So after that particular breath, you should feel a little calmer, a little more relaxed. You should feel in tune with your own intuition. I suggest that you use this breath anytime you need to over the next 3 or 4 days. It's fantastic for calming and soothing the central nervous system. So let's go ahead and bring our palms together in front of our hearts, taking a moment in gratitude that we have these amazing tools from this discipline of yoga, that these simple techniques that have been proven throughout centuries, thousands of years to work are still available to us. Take one more huge inhale through the nose. Soft exhale through the mouth. Bring palms together in front of your forehead. This is just a reminder to be present. Bringing palms together in front of the mouth, it's a reminder to speak our truth. Bringing palms together in front of the heart, it's a reminder to keep our hearts open, to be grateful, to be full of love, to practice compassion. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. Namaste.